Hello, guys, and welcome back to the NW Sportscast. Today, we are here with just me, Andrew Alba, or Drew Alba, and Mr. Levi Couvert. How you doing, Levi?
Doing pretty good. Finals week, so
Good.
it's pretty stressful for us.
Yeah, stressful at our school, but we're still making content for you guys, and I think that deserves a subscribe, a thumbs up, and leave a comment down below expressing your gratitude for us. No, I'm just joking, but please, you guys could do that. That'd be great. We are going to be talking about a bunch of different things, lots of football news. Obviously, the Super Bowl coming up. We might do our quick picks there. We'll have a bigger show on Friday about that. But we have the MLB Hall of Fame voting is out. Spoiler alert, not that many people made it in this year. And we are also going to do, what else are we going to do, Levi?
Seahawks have a new coach.
Oh yeah, and obviously the Seahawks have a hire. If you want to see my other reaction, my instant reaction, do that. But this is a more formulated.
Yeah, go check that out as well. The instant reaction.
Yeah. So you want to just get started with that?
Yeah, that's probably the big. At least that's the big Northwest news.
Yes.
So yeah, Seahawks new hire. What are your initial thoughts on the deal?
I mean, I think the hire is really, really good. Obviously, we've been playing the Rams, and every single time we play the Rams, it seems like their passing game, along with their running game, but they feel like they always have our number. So it's really good to have somebody with a little bit more innovative offense. Shane Waldron hopefully will bring that. He's looking like he was the person that was Sean McVay's right-hand man on the offensive side of the ball. And although Sean McVay does get most of the credit, I do think you have to give a lot of credit to Shane Waldron in the last 2 or 3 years. Obviously, Sean McVay had a bigger part in that, but I'm just super happy to get any sort of innovative offense after dealing with a Pete Carroll really vanilla offense for a long time. But I'm excited.
Yeah, so am I. I feel like initially I heard Shane Waldron. Who is this guy? But I feel a lot better about it. I know the Rams definitely have a run first approach. But what I like about the Rams is that when they do pass, they use very creative passing plays. I know a lot of those Robert Woods when he'd do those jet sweeps and stuff. They do like the fake handoff and then they'd go for a little bootleg. So I feel like hopefully the goal here is we're getting Shane Waldron on board, and hopefully he's going to add some creativity to our passing game, especially our short field passing game. At the same time, we'll probably keep the run first approach, but I think it's a lot better than what we did this year, which was just basically a bunch of deep balls.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot better than the other candidates, in my opinion, too, right? I prefer this over Anthony Lynn. I prefer this over Adam Gase, definitely.
Oh, certainly.
I prefer this hiring over Pete Carroll's former running backs coach or something like that. I really didn't want that because, again, when we did let Russ cook, for the first 7, 8, 9 games of the year, he did play really, really well. I think him being in an MVP conversation did maybe slow him down, got him thinking in his head. But another thing that really made Russell Wilson go downhill in the second half of the year was people started to figure us out, and then our scheme didn't change. And that's not so much on Russ and more on our scheme, and that falls on Schottenheimer and Carroll. So now we have Shane Waldron, who hopefully brings some innovative offense. I was kind of worried we were going to get somebody worse than Shoddy going into the search because I think Anthony Lynn would have been a downgrade personally, but I think we did end up getting a win here, and obviously only time will tell, but I'm happy about the hiring. And also I think a thing that not too many people are talking about is that now we actually get to have some insight into the Rams playbook, maybe a little bit. We play them 2 times a year. Shane Waldron was a big part of that offensive scheme. So, I mean, that doesn't help getting some insider information on a team we play 2 times a year, and we're battling the NFC West for, so that helps too.
Yeah, hopefully he can help us beat them. We seem to always lose at least once a year to the Rams, which is pretty annoying, but it is what it is. But yeah, hopefully maybe Shane Waldron will help us out. It is interesting that the Seahawks, Rams, and 49ers, they all run very, very similar offensive styles. The Cardinals are basically the only team that has a different style in the division. So it's a weird division in that 3 of the 4 teams are running the same offensive style. But yeah, I kind of like it. I think
Same style, but just other, like the Rams and the 49ers do it better than us.
And that's the annoying thing, because we should be able to do better, because we have definitely we have the much better quarterback, but yet Goff and Garoppolo are able to operate our offense better than we operate our offense. So hopefully Shane Waldron will help change that. I'm happy. Yeah, I felt like heading into it, I thought Doug Peterson might be our best choice, or maybe I really wanted us to hire Mike Lombardi from the Saints, or Joe Lombardi from the Saints. Yeah. But after we struck out on him, I really didn't know who I wanted, and I'm happy with Shane Waldron.
Yeah, I'm super pumped for Shane too. Hopefully he just brings some innovative offense. That's all I'm looking for, right? Pete Carroll, I don't think he's ever going to change his run-first philosophy. I just think that's part of who he is. But if Shane Waldron can at least try to shape the offense into a more Russell Wilson type offense, but it's not just all deep balls, then I'll be happy at the end of the day. Again, this is just an instant reaction. We'll have to wait to see what happens. But
yeah,
my bets are going to be on Shane Waldron, hopefully fixing the offense. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this is the best. Like the Seahawks are the best team that fired a major coordinator, head coach, D coordinator, offensive coordinator. So I do think this is a pretty big deal to other teams in the league as well, because the Seahawks are going to be a contender next year, and if they can get their offense figured out and their defense plays like they did in the second half of the year, we're going to be scary good next year, and I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, as far as I know, only 3 playoff teams have lost a coordinator. We fired our offensive coordinator. The Rams defensive coordinator is going to the Chargers, and the Bears defensive coordinator Chuck Pagano retired. I think those are the only 3. So yeah, not very much turnover at all. Speaking of new hires, that Rams defensive coordinator, he's going to the Chargers. Do you remember his? Yes, to be the head coach. Do you remember his name? I'm at a loss right now. Okay, I'm looking up Shane Steichen. I think that's how you pronounce it. Shane Steichen.
Their defense was their defense was so good last year. I'm not surprised the Chargers hired him.
Yeah, so they get a defensive guy, Shane Steichen from the Rams. He's going to be their new head coach, and Joe Lombardi going to be their offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think. Well, when we say defensive guy, obviously, if you're a defensive guy, you got to know how offenses work, and that's why I do think that defensive coordinators moving into head coaching roles do work a lot of the times in the NFL, because to be a good D coordinator, you have to know how the offense works, and I think the Chargers head coach the head coach spot was the most coveted spot this offseason, because you have a really, really young Justin Herbert who's going to be in a rookie contract for another 2 or 3 years. I forget the exact number. And you have some young guys over there. So I think you have Justin Herbert, and you can make anything happen in the next 2 or 3 years on his rookie contract. And hopefully, I'm rooting for Herbert. Hopefully Steichen will pull that around. And hopefully the Rams defense get worse now Steichen is gone.
And quick correction, I was actually wrong about that. Shane Steichen is the Eagles coordinator. The Rams coordinator is Brandon Staley. So Brandon Staley's the one going to the Chargers.
Steichen, Staley, same thing.
Yeah, Steichen used to be with the Chargers. Now he's on the Eagles as their coordinator. But Brandon Staley on the Chargers as their head coach. Yeah, as Drew said, that's probably the best position to be in. Also being hired, the Texans announced today they're going to be hiring David Culley. I like this hire a lot. Basically, he was the same job that I don't even actually know what his job was, but he worked for the Ravens organization. He was like the quarterback and receiver coach, I'm pretty sure. And he's going to the Texans to be their head coach. So what are your thoughts about that, David Culley?
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now, and apparently he had a really strong relationship with the Ravens organization. Everyone loved him. I think if anything's going to get Deshaun Watson to stay, it should be a new, fresh face. If Watson had any say in who they hire, and he really likes this guy, this could be the turning point to keep Deshaun Watson, or this could be the turning point that sets off Deshaun Watson and gets him traded somewhere else. I don't know what my bets would be on there, but I mean, good for the Texans. Hopefully, they find their future long-term head coach, and with Deshaun Watson, anything's possible. So hopefully, for the Texans' sake, that this means that Deshaun Watson will stay. This is a really big hire for the Texans.
Yeah, and I will say he's already 65, so he might be one of the oldest first-time head coaches. He's already the fourth oldest head coach, and he's never even been a coordinator. But honestly, I feel like you have to leave it to the teams. Like if they think that this is who they want to hire, then that's who they want to hire. And it's sort of the same situation as it was with the Lions hiring a tight end guy. The Giants last year hired a special teams guy. So yeah, I mean, maybe it's a little weird to hire a receiving coach, but if they like him, then and they think he's the best man for the job.
He is also the assistant head coach there, so
yeah.
He is second in line as far as play calling stuff goes, but he also was a quarterback in his early days in the 1970s. He was the first Vanderbilt black quarterback, first black quarterback in the SEC entirely, actually.
Wow.
The same conference that does Deshaun Watson, did he go to the SEC?
Clemson, that's in the SEC, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. Deshaun Watson, they both have similarities. Maybe Deshaun Watson will stay. And I think as a Texans, obviously getting a head coach is super important, but it's almost more important that you fulfill Deshaun Watson's needs because head coaches are great and they're hard to come by, but Deshaun Watson, he's a once-in-a-generation type player. And also former Seahawks defensive coordinator or defensive play caller Chris Richard is meant to be a part of David Culley's staff. So a Seahawks coach going over to the Texans. So, yeah.
Yeah. And, so Josh McCown, he was also being considered for that job. I wonder if he might get a position on the staff elsewhere. He was their third-string quarterback this year. It looks like he is planning to retire and become a coach somewhere. They don't know where, but he was being considered by Houston. Maybe they hire him instead to be a quarterback coach, something along those lines. Also, the Eagles have hired a coach, Nick Sirianni. We're not going to talk much about this because I'm guessing we'll have our Eagles fan Alex on to talk about this with us.
Yeah, Friday.
But but Nick Sirianni, really quickly, I'll give my take. I think it's going to be really tough for him. I don't know if he's going to make it. The Eagles are in a tough position at this point. I think, honestly, judging them, they're probably the worst team in their division, and their division is the worst division in the NFL. So that's not a great spot to be in. Previously, he was the offensive coordinator for the Colts. The Colts offense wasn't that great, so I don't know where they're getting them from, but I mean, it's a weird hire, interesting hire to me. Honestly, I find this weirder than the Texans hiring a wide receiver coach and the Lions hiring a tight end coach. But who knows what Nick Sirianni will do.
Yeah, and just to put it into perspective,
who is he going to put as a quarterback, right? Jalen Hurts, Carson Wentz, I don't know.
I don't know either, but just to put this into perspective, guys, the Eagles did not make the playoffs last season, and they are $53 million under the cap. So that is not a good position for a new head coach to be in, where you are negative $53 million in the cap. The only team worse than them is the Saints, who are almost double that, $112 million under the cap. That's almost an entire season's worth of cap, and they're just minus that. So if you're a Saints fan, sorry to break it to you, but I'm pretty sure that this last year was the last year that you guys were really in a serious Super Bowl contention for a while. It's going to take a while to get out of that hole. In comparison, the Seahawks have $2 million in positive in the cap, and the Jaguars, with Trevor Lawrence, has $73 million in the cap. Hopefully they will, get some pieces around Trevor, and in a couple of years, watch out, Jacksonville. Your team could be really, really good.
Yeah, well, as far as the Saints go, the good news for them is that at least they still have their players, but once those players hit free agency, I mean, Kamara, Michael Thomas, all those guys, there's no chance they can sign half these players. So that,
Quarter
yeah,
of those
I
players.
imagine a lot of New Orleans players will be leaving in the coming 2-3 years. Obviously, Drew Brees still up in the air, not officially retired yet, but yeah. So other news, I don't know if we've touched on this yet in the show. Matthew Stafford has agreed to part ways with the Lions. They are going to be trading him. Where do you think he ends up?
I'll save my whole take for Friday, but very briefly, I think that the Colts are a really intriguing place for Stafford to go.
Yeah, for me, I would say Denver as my first option. Maybe that's just because I like the Broncos. I mean, I wouldn't put it past John Elway to go out and trade for a better quarterback. He's been very non-committal for Drew Lock, so they may draft someone. I don't know how well Stafford would fit there, but that's where I hope he goes. And I don't know, I don't really see him fitting well with most of the other teams. A lot of people think the Patriots. I don't really like that much at all. But anyways, let's move on to the baseball news. As the Hall of Fame has voted, nobody made it. Curt Schilling missed by 16 votes. Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens both missed by about 15%. And I believe it was, I don't even remember who came in fourth. Todd Helton may have came in fourth. Andrew Jones, he did pretty well, pretty good as well, but still pretty far off from the 75% threshold. A lot of people sent in blank ballots, which means they didn't vote for anyone at all, which is pretty disappointing for me. To be honest, I feel like most of those guys deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, even Bonds and Clemens. I mean, what would you say, Drew? Do Bonds and Clemens deserve to make the Hall of Fame? Manny Ramirez as well. Manny Ramirez also on the ballot, who's been suspended twice for PEDs.
What did Clemens do?
Clemens and Bonds have been very credibly accused of taking steroids. Neither has been proven. Bonds, I think, may have actually admitted he did. I don't think Clemens ever has. And Manny Ramirez has actually been suspended for it.
I would, man. I mean, this is obviously a really, really heated debate. Barry Bonds, obviously one of the best hitters, one of the best home run hitters, if not the best home run hitter of all time. Obviously, it has really tainted his reputation that he was on steroids. When you compare him to guys like Ken Griffey, who has never taken a steroid in his life, or even guys currently like Mike Trout, or people that compare to him but don't take steroids. But then again, he is Barry Bonds. I would give it to him. And that's just for the simple fact that just because you take steroids doesn't mean you like, that's not everything, right? Yeah. I can't just take steroids and play in the MLB at the level Barry Bonds did. I think it was really, really bad for Barry Bonds. I do understand why he didn't get in the Hall of Fame, but personally, I would put him in. It is kind of a tough topic though, because then it does maybe allow other guys to be like, oh, well, Barry Bonds got in the Hall of Fame and he took steroids, so I can take steroids and I still get rewarded for it and stuff. And that's where it does get kind of tough. And as far as Clemens goes, that's more of a pitching type thing, same type of thing, but I think steroids are less effective in pitchers. That's just my personal take. I think pitching's a lot more about finesse than how fast you can throw a ball. Obviously, he did throw a ball really, really fast, but I think there's more skill in pitching, not dependent on steroids compared to Barry Bonds. And if you want to go just straight up cheating, pitchers use tar every single day. So I would say yes to both of them, but I do understand why they left those two out. As far as Ramirez goes, I would not put him in because he's also been suspended for it. But I'm sure there's other prospects that I'm sure there was other candidates that could have been inducted.
Yeah, looking at the voting, so Curt Schilling, he missed out by 16 votes. He had 71%. A lot of people speculating that maybe he missed because of his political views. It sounds like he's made some controversial statements on his Twitter feed. So part of that might be his fault. Just keep your mouth shut and you make the Hall. He released a statement. He asked to be taken off the ballot next year. So he basically has done the math and figures there's no way he's making it. He's going to get enough votes next year. So he's just done. He wants to go to the Players Committee, which also selects certain members. So if he thinks that certain former players may elect him, that's his only other chance now.
How does that work? Sorry, how does the player committee thing work?
I'm pretty sure every couple years the former players committee has a chance to vote in people who may not have made the threshold. Usually they use that to vote in guys who were undervalued at the times of their career, or guys who played in like the 1800s and nobody cared about back then. So possibly that might get him in. He seems to think that he's not fit for the Hall of Fame and doesn't want to go through the embarrassment for one more year of barely missing out. So he's done on the ballot. What was the percentage
on that? How close was that?
So he made 71.6%. You need 75% to make it in.
Wait, why would he take himself off? That is super close.
He seems to have determined that there's no way he's going to get the additional 16 votes next year to make it in. And I feel like because of his it seems as if some people are making their decision based off the fact that he's made some pretty controversial tweets, to say the least. Tweets that got him fired from being a baseball analyst on ESPN 4 years ago, and then he continued making controversial tweets after that. So part of that, like, just keep your mouth shut and you're in the Hall of Fame, dude. But on the other case, I still probably would have voted for him just because I feel like his talent was immense. The same way I would vote for Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens as well, because I think looking at it, you have to realize everyone was taking steroids in that era, or at least almost everyone was, like 80% in some estimates. And Bonds was still by far the best. So I feel like it's hard to deny the best home run hitter of all time a spot in the Hall of Fame. And even guys today like Aaron Judge, Mike Trout, I'm sure they're taking like very special vitamins and things that regular people can't get. You look at Tom Brady, who takes his mysterious TB12 water, like who knows what's in there, but nobody ever accuses him of cheating, right? Except for the deflated balls
yeah,
thing.
I guess.
So I feel like all players have their thing, and some players it's legal and some players it's not. And especially considering that at the time, what Barry Bonds was doing was perfectly okay with MLB for the majority of his career. There was no steroid testing. So it's like, how do you make that? So honestly, I would put Bonds, I'd put Clemens. Also, Omar Vizquel, who got 50%, and Scott Rowland got 52.9%. Both of them, I would say, are also pretty qualified to be in the Hall of Fame, but neither of them got very close to the amount of votes. There was a really great post I saw about Scott Rowland, basically saying, like, at the time he played, Rowland was pretty much the best third baseman in the league for like 5 years in a row, and yet people are just denying him a shot at the Hall. Todd Helton, I also think, deserves to be in it. He got about 45%. So a lot of guys that I think are borderline Hall of Famers, and then 3 that I would certainly vote in. But I do understand the controversy surrounding all 3 of them.
Yeah, but just bottom line, there's too many good MLB baseball players that are retired to not let a single one in the Hall of Fame. And that's something that obviously the Hall of Fame is really, really coveted. But as a fan, you don't want to see some of the best players that's ever played our game, some players that deserve to be in the Hall of Fame straight up, right? The majority of people thought that those people should have been in the Hall of Fame, right? And I would think that the majority of fans would think that. And
yeah, the fan vote. By the way, the fan vote, Barry Bonds got 70%, Curt Schilling 76%, and Roger Clemens 68%. So Bonds and Clemens were much closer in the fan vote, and Schilling barely made it in the fan vote. But of course, the fan vote doesn't actually count.
Yeah, I just think that it's a once in a lifetime lifetime opportunity for the players that's given so much to this game. They probably still are giving to this game, whether that be coaching a little league team or doing something around broadcasting or something around there that's just giving back to the beautiful game of baseball. Yeah. I think this is kind of disrespectful, honestly, to not have one person in the Hall of Fame. I know it's a COVID year. It might not be the same, but who knows what happens by summertime. And I just think that it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the players, the fans of the players, the fans of the teams that the players played for. And it's happened once before in baseball. And I know when I was at the Hall of Fame ceremony the year before Edgar was inducted, I wish he made it that year. I could have seen him. That would have been sick. But there was a couple people that were still talking about that. And that was like 10 years later. They were still talking about the year that there were no inductees into the Hall of Fame and how mad they were and how every year they were looking forward to it. And I think that this is a bogus move and it should have at least gone one person in. I know the Clemens, Barry Bonds thing, that is kind of debatable. I understand that. But for guys like, it's just, they have to get one guy in.
Now, the good news is that there will be a Hall of Fame ceremony this summer because the one that was supposed to be last summer for Derek Jeter and Larry Walker, that was canceled. So assuming that enough people are vaccinated, there will be a Hall of Fame ceremony for Derek Jeter, who is probably a top 10 shortstop of all time, as well as Larry Walker. And that's the other thing. Like Larry Walker, he made the Hall of Fame last year. And if Larry Walker's in the Hall of Fame, it's hard to argue against guys like Scott Rowland, Omar Vizquel, Todd Helton, because Larry Walker was not, during his playing career, he was considered to be good, but he was never considered to be a future Hall of Famer. And he did make the Hall of Fame. So that's another reason why I feel like if you're going to put him in, you gotta give more consideration to Vizquel, Rowland. So yeah, I don't know. That's just me, but yeah, at least there's the Derek Jeter, and he was a first ballot as well as Larry Walker.
Any broadcasters or anybody like that got in?
No, nobody. And there may be the Veterans Association. I think they have separate votes, and they also induct coaches and broadcasters as well. So maybe that could be a possibility.
Okay, so anything else we want to talk about?
That's probably good for tonight, and then because we'll be back with you guys on Friday with Lorenzo. He'll be
don't miss that.
Yeah, he'll be guesting with us, and then so I guess wrap it up.
Like, subscribe, comment down below, guys. Working hard on this channel.
Yes.
If you could do that, it means the world to us. One subscriber for us right now is worth so much to us compared to a channel with like 15 million subscribers. Each and every one of you are super, super valuable to us. If you want to be on the show, we will make you feel really, really welcome. It's a fun show. Just hit us up and we'll see if you want to be on. So thank you guys for watching and peace out. Go Hawks.